Welcome to Tech Turks. Today we have Tayo Bamiduro of Metro Africa Express, Max, and I think their goal is to usurp the likes of FedEx and DHL in Nigeria. I just use those big words so that we get tags. Anyway, how did you start with Max, and why did you think that you could make it in that space? What did you see that others haven't seen, or should I say the DHLs and FedExes haven't closed up in Lagos and in Nigeria, Africa?
Okay, great question. Thanks once again for having me on the program. I'd say in 2013, I started my MBA program at MIT, and while I was there, I knew I wanted to, after my program, I was going to do something in entrepreneurship. I was going to start a business, but I wasn't clear exactly what it would be. But I also knew it would be something around using technology to make something more efficient. I also have passion, I've always had passion for Africa as a continent, so I knew I wanted to use technology to solve an important problem that affected a lot of people. So moving to my MBA program, during my internship, I reached out to a couple of friends who connected me with Sim Shagaya at Conga. And then I said, hey Sim, doing this stuff at MIT, but I'm very excited about what you're building in Africa. I'd like to come, work with you. So I was like, sure, why not? So I worked at Conga for a little bit. But while I was there, I worked in fulfillment, trying to figure out how to optimize, logistics and delivery for Conga. And it was while I was there that I figured out that, wow, this really is a big problem, because Conga is trying to depend on a couple of big names to, do fulfillment, and every single one of them, couldn't really do it. And I realized that, okay, here's a big opportunity. The established players are struggling here. They probably don't have what it really takes to reinvent this industry. And I said, why not? I could build something to solve this problem. So I went back to MIT for my final year, and then I got a team together. Met my co-founder, who was also very excited about e-commerce and logistics in general. And then we built, a prototype. We did pitch competitions at MIT. MIT has such an incredible entrepreneurship ecosystem. And then we got generous grants as well to do a little more research. So we did, we traveled across the continent, figuring out what last mile delivery is like in other parts of Africa, not just Nigeria. And then eventually we came up with a business plan and said to ourselves, we can actually start a company to really do this rather than just abandon this as some research project. So we started eventually 2 months after we graduated. We graduated in June, we launched in August in Lagos, and the rest, as I say, is history.
So great, I'm a great story. So what is it that you do that makes it different, that actually gets you the orders?
Great question. The two things we're really doing at Max, number one, we're using technology. So there's technology innovation, which is driving what we're doing in how we engage with customers and businesses. So we've built APIs, we've built consumer-facing platforms as well, where people can just place orders at the click of a button. But even much beyond that is business model innovation, which is how, how is FedEx trying to solve this problem? How have they tried to solve this problem in the past? And what has changed? What are the realities today, and what can we learn from examples around us, especially in other markets, that we can not exactly replicate, but localize for the problems we have in Africa? So the first part is technology innovation. The second part is business model innovation. And what we've essentially done is to say we can actually engage do crowdsourcing, engage an independent workforce where we don't have to invest so much in assets. So for example, if you look at Lagos, from the research that I did looking at data, motor vehicle registration data from Lagos State government, I realized you had anywhere between 150,000 to 200,000 motorcycle riders in Lagos. And it's a highly fragmented industry. These guys are just all over the place, many of them causing trouble, and you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So we said to ourselves, we can actually bring this workforce together and transform them into a network, an organized network. We can use technology, but even beyond that, we can align incentives in such a way that it's good for them, it's good for us, it's good for the consumer to build a logistics network that serves everybody's needs.
So two questions. First one is from, so that I can break it down to my layman understanding. If I wanted to deliver, let's say, a package from here to my village in Imo State. Okay. Is it possible? And how long will it take? And how much will it cost me?
Good question. So, with all innovation, you start small and then eventually you scale it up. So we started out by solving urban logistics problems, not interstate. What you ask, if you want to do that, you probably have to go to the motor parks and send something via God is good, or one of these Korea interstate transportation
great company I want to get on this show.
Yeah, okay. But with us, for now, even though what you asked for, we will eventually be able to do that, and I'm talking about in less than 6 months.
Okay, so let's do Lagos.
So let's look at Lagos. It's simple. Okay, you want to do something to Ekpe from, say, your office in VI.
Yes.
You go on our platform, you enter your pickup address, you enter your delivery address, and you click submit. And then we dispatch one of our riders. It's an automated process because we build apps that pick in the addresses and channel those to driver app, just like you have Uber driver app, right? We have one for our riders as well.
So are these like Okada people, or should I say people that you have given an opportunity to make alternative forms of living?
Yes. So these are not Okada people. We actually call them Max Delivery Champions.
Okay,
so there's a different brand.
Okay,
right?
definitely. Upscaled. Very good. Yeah?
So of course.
And this is a contribution to society, which is good.
It is. Yes. And we do have a huge social impact mission as well, even beyond just building a profitable company and giving decent returns to shareholders and investors. There's a huge social impact component to it. So, for example, what we've seen is a decent number of the drivers that we've engaged that have come into our network. For them, even beyond the opportunity to make more money, they want to identify with a brand. They want to belong to something that really matters, rather than just be an independent Okada guy out there just fighting for yourself and fending for yourself. We've even had people who joined us and initially weren't making as much money as they would or as they were in the whatever previous business they were doing, but because of the community that we had built for them, that had a lot of value. And there's a couple of other things that we provide for them, like training and the savings plan and stuff like that they're very excited about. But essentially, when they join us, we take them through training. So for example, I'm happy to talk about this. We're building a machine learning platform that allows us to understand them a lot better. So they take tests, not like JAMB or SAT or something like that, something psychometric tests essentially, that help us understand them at a much deeper level and figure out areas where we can also build assistance to them. That's essentially what it is. If you want to do something in Lagos, you go online. We haven't released the mobile Android app yet for delivery. We've done for food orders, but not for delivery yet. We're working on that right now, where you don't have to go to a website. You can just download our mobile app, place a request, and then a rider shows up and picks up a package.
So do you have places like restaurants? Are they beginning to use your services to make delivery? Because I think the reason why people like Amazon are beginning to do 2-hour deliveries is because I think they've created this network of fulfillment providers, and so it's definitely possible in Lagos.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yes, that's actually exactly what we're doing. What we figured out around food. So when we started doing deliveries, we were delivering everything. But our core value prop when we started out was super fast deliveries. The e-commerce folks, they wanted that, but their willingness to pay was a little low. They wanted it's like wanting gold and wanting to pay for bronze, stuff like that. But anyway, we looked around the industry and figured out that food is a vertical that really values speed.
Yeah.
So we decided, we're going to build something specifically for food. Now, when we did our research, looking at the restaurant industry as well, there's a lot of great cooks and chefs around, but many of them don't have the capital to get attractive locations like this, for example. So we figured out, why don't we build a system where we can help people discover great food at not affordable prices, and we can also deliver to them in a way that's affordable to them. And the only way to do that is to build a massive network and also build for density. And what I mean by density is, in a place like VI, we want to give consumers a lot of selection. So we want to have 100, 200, at some point 1,000 different restaurants, whether real or virtual restaurants that sell food, and you can discover around you, and you can order and have it delivered for as low as 100, 200 naira because of the proximity to you.
So really, I can actually start a business from my own house.
Yes.
As long as they find a way for them to pay me, and it can get delivered to them, so I don't have to pay for overheads like expensive place in VI, expensive shop in VI. Just brand myself digitally, and then people make their payment online and will fulfill.
Absolutely.
So that is the
model.
How many of those kind of people do you have?
Okay, so we didn't do it directly. We work with partners who are already doing that, who already have a network of chefs around the city who cook. But for us, we think this is just the tip of the iceberg. Even if you look at developed markets like New York or London, a lot of the online platforms right now, many of the restaurants you see are virtual restaurants. They're not real restaurants with real locations. And when you look at the cost structure for a restaurant, for example, a huge part of it is real estate and the workforce, paying a lot of people and stuff like that. Imagine reducing all of that to just the cost of the food only. That can be massively disruptive. Now, if you look at a place like Nigeria as well, and you look at the economic recession and how things are becoming a lot more expensive, people still want great food. People are always going to want great food, but at lower prices, if possible. Now, the only way to do that is to innovate with the current restaurant model and say, how can we reduce costs and still deliver the same level of experience to people? Which is why we are building the infrastructure that will ultimately enable that. But of course, great restaurant brands will still continue to make a lot of money. I personally, and this is like my philosophy and my co-founder's philosophy as well, we don't necessarily believe that innovation has to mean the death of established models. It's more like complementary. A lot of people still come to restaurants not just for food but for the ambience and the experience, and that will continue to matter. But what we're saying is there are people that are looking for value meals, great prices, and we can unlock a crowdsourced workforce of chefs and great cooks who don't have what it takes to set up a full-scale restaurant but can cook great food, and we can help provide infrastructure to deliver to customers.
So you're like the Intel inside, you're not like the computer, but you're the processor that makes things work. I didn't know about you.
Okay.
And now I see the value proposition that you bring, but how do you give people an option that, oh yes, there is also Max as well? Okay. So what's the plan there?
Great question. That's the $1 million question we're also trying to figure out.
So you can use Tech Turks as a platform that you're using right now.
Yeah, so, great.
Max.
So I am excited to be here.
Alternative to DHL.
Well, let's just say, yeah, okay, well.
For the time being.
For the time being. Yeah, so it's a critical question. Especially for us, every single day we're thinking, how can we growth hack our way to significance?
Which is probably small businesses. How do we create scale? How do we create access?
How do we accelerate, and build renown and build a super brand very quickly? Some of the things we've done so far, to be honest, we haven't invested so much in marketing, and for good reason. For us, the critical thing is to make sure that what we have is high quality before we make too much noise about it. So, for example, a huge test of our strength and capacity was the last Black Friday, and we had lots of orders, especially from the e-commerce companies, that we had to fulfill on their behalf. And that also helped us. We did struggle a little bit, to be honest, and we've learned a lot about how to manage, how to plan capacity, how to do much better demand forecasting, planning. I've been able to manage volume spikes in a way that is still sustainable for us. Because the thing about our business is you don't want to build capacity for peaks. Because if you do that, when all the volume drops, what are you going to do with the workforce, right? So finding a way to build extra capacity to manage volume and demand spikes without having a huge capex outlay is what we've been trying to figure out. But in the last 1.5 years, we figured out a lot about our business, all the way from learning how to ride motorcycles and do deliveries ourselves. So I and my co-founder had to learn that we do deliveries, Chino does deliveries, I do deliveries. We can do that. We know every single part of a motorcycle. We understand the business, we understand the supply chain, we understand every single nitty-gritty about logistics. So right now, we're at a point where we're a lot more comfortable that, okay, we can actually scale this and we won't break. So, for example, one of our investors who's so generous offered to bankroll our marketing spend for the whole of 2017, and we're very excited about that. What we're doing right now is creating, the strategy around how to make sure we get the most out of our marketing spend. For us, both myself and my co-founder, we're MIT guys, we're extremely quantitative. If you're investing any single dime, we want to know exactly what we're getting out of it. We want to run experiments first before going, head in. So the way we're approaching marketing isn't the way traditional businesses traditionally just approach marketing, to build a massive email database, 1 million users, 1 million subscribers, or social media marketing, or giving out free money on Twitter, or all that crazy stuff. Yeah. For us, it's a lot more detailed than that. And we're building really powerful models and creating both online and offline strategies to see how we can go hack our way in an efficient way that, okay, if you're spending $10, we know we're getting 3 customers. We can track our cost of customer acquisition, lifetime value. We have very clear insight into that, and then we can ramp up. The other side of it for us, however, is we don't want to build a business that is just for the upper middle class, because we don't think it's a huge market. If you're going to knock it out of the park like Amazon has or Alibaba has, we have to build something that is very relevant to the average Nigerian. And figuring out that is not easy.
It is. I can tell you, we're in that business as well. Because that's where the opportunity is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while we will engage modern tools like Facebook and Twitter and all of that, we're also thinking about very effective ways to reach the mass market. That we haven't figured out yet, but in the next couple of weeks.
Come to us.
I would love to do that.
We're in that space.
Okay, I will take this as your commitment to give us free mentoring and insight on how to crack this space.
That's what we're here for.
Take up on that.
That's what we're here for.
All right, sounds great.
We have a nice market of 500,000 customers that will be interested in your service.
Oh my goodness, it doesn't get better than this. Yeah. All right, I'll definitely engage you in that. So we're trying to figure out how to get the word out very quickly in a cost-effective way, and we will.
So, so what's the future? So in 5 years' time, where do you see this business? If you haven't sold it up to some DHL.
Yeah, we will cop out. We will cop out. 5 years, the goal for us is we want to be in 50 cities on the continent. We want to be supporting at least 1 million businesses on a daily basis. We want to have at least, hopefully, 100,000 riders across the continent using our technology to support businesses. But even beyond that, from a social point of view, is we want to completely demystify logistics, transportation for the average African. And I'm not just talking like being able to hail an Uber ride. Most Africans today still can't afford to use Uber. That's the honest truth. So using whatever means, whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's drone, or whether it's rocket engines, who knows. But finding a way to completely simplify this, simplify logistics and transportation for the average African, where you can use your smartphone or whatever device you have to get service, and at a very affordable rate very quickly.
No, great. I mean, that's audacious goals and a great dream, made in Nigeria for Nigerians and the rest of Africa.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
So we'll talk again offline.
All right.